Hey ninjas. So I enjoyed Shauna Malcolm's Draw My Life so much that I just had to do one of my own. I really hope you enjoy this. So first off, my mom and dad. They're literally the best people in the world. I love them dearly and I owe everything to them. My mom was just 19 when they met and my dad was 32, so they were pretty different, but in a good way. They met in Wallace, Idaho, and when she first saw him, she thought that he looked just like Abraham Lincoln. He really doesn't, so I don't know what she was thinking. So my mom used this as a really unique icebreaker to go over and talk to him, and once they met, they instantly hit it off. There was just a ton of chemistry. So they got together, and a couple years later, my mom got the news she was pregnant with me. She couldn't have been happier. Denver bound. My parents decided to move here when they knew that I was on the way so they could provide some opportunities a small town like Wallace just couldn't. Childhood was excellent. Party time. Woo, 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 woo. My parents took great care of me and loved me a lot. I'll never forget how my mom would go to the grocery store and every single time she came home, she'd have a new Hot Wheels car for me in the bag. I mean, pretty cool, right? Saturday mornings were absolutely my favorite time. Cartoons like Bugs Bunny were a mainstay in my life. I was a very happy kid. One day, my mom came up to me and said, "Son, would you like a new sister or brother?" I really wasn't sure, so I thought about it for a little bit, and eventually I said I wanted a sister. Apparently, the gods were listening and heard me loud and clear. As soon as I said sister, they used their mojo and powers of Olympus and such, and about a year later, I had a new baby sister. I think I was actually more anxious than my parents to get to meet her for the first time. Her name was Sarah. So now there was me, Sarah, and a couple years after that, zap again, and I got a second sister, Kayla. They are the two most important people in my life. Growing up was an absolute blast. We spent a lot of time playing tag and Ninja Turtles versus Barbies. I cut off some of their heads sometimes. My sisters and I had a chance to bond in a really unique way because my parents decided to homeschool all three of us. My mom would teach us things like reading and writing, and my dad would teach us things like math and Latin. I wish I still remembered how to speak Latin. In my little neighborhood, I had only two friends that lived across the street, Zeb and Brent. Zeb, I met when he set fire to a pile of grass on his mom's porch, and I told on him, and Brent soon joined up with us. They were my best friends when I was a kid. It was a fantastic time in my life. Bike rides, tag, video games, but I couldn't help this feeling, though, that the world was much bigger than my little neighborhood. So there came a time when I decided I wanted to venture out a little and see more of the world that I knew nothing about. So I decided I needed to go to public school and I told my parents. My dad really didn't like the idea, but my mom was all for it, and soon after, it was decided I would go to public school. My first year in public school ended up being a terrible experience for me. I was smart, wanted to be everyone's friend, and I was very new to dealing with people, especially testosterone ridden little 13-year-olds. They picked on me to no end. Now, for all the hell I put up with, I wouldn't trade it for the world because I met two of my very best friends that year, and they still are to this day. My friend who you now know as Wyatt Kane and Brian. These are two of the closest people in my life, and I would do 8th grade 100 times over as long as I got to meet them. Year 2 of public school was a lot of the same. So, sophomore year, I took up weightlifting and joined the wrestling team. I think a big reason was that I was tired of being picked on and I wanted to find my confidence. During my first couple of years of school, my sister Kayla was diagnosed with kidney failure. It was absolutely devastating, and a lot of my life for the next few years was in and out of hospitals. We really weren't sure she was going to make it. We were blessed, though, because a lovely lady who died made the choice to be a donor and saved my sister's life when she lost hers. There are no words for that day. Those days seemed really long to me, and through it all, I still went to school. The wrestling team wasn't at all what I thought it would be. I was good at it, but it was filled with all the same people who made my life a nightmare for me and made me want to join to begin with. I was going to quit the wrestling team, and then I found out that my youth pastor at church was head coach of the wrestling team at Bear Creek. Uh, sorry, I don't know what kind of bear that is. So I transferred to Bear Creek and I joined their wrestling team. Some of the best memories of my life were on that team. My coach Steve was a fantastic mentor and taught me to dig deep when things got tough, like running up a mountain for 20 miles on a Saturday morning. I found my confidence. I started making friends left and right at Bear Creek. It was really interesting. A little bit of confidence went a long way, and I had more friends than I could even keep up with. I also found my first really serious girlfriend. Her name was Jen, and I absolutely thought the world of her. We had some really amazing times together, learning what it was to be in love. Of course, it didn't last, and right before graduation, we broke up. My heart was absolutely broken, and I really thought I would never ever love again. Boy, was I wrong. The next couple of years after graduation saw a lot of dating. My evenings were spent partying, and my days were spent at whatever job I decided to keep at the moment. Life was fun, but it lacked direction and purpose. This was one of those double-edged swords. I had fun, did as I pleased, but also started getting into trouble. Nothing serious, just traffic stuff, but I spent more time talking to police than I ever thought possible. It's like the universe knew I was falling out of line. I was angry, bitter, lived in a bad part of town, and started asking too many questions that began with why. Then I stumbled across acting, literally. My friend Wyatt Kane was working out of an office that shared space with an acting class. I stepped inside and it was amazing. Someone was doing a self-written monologue based off Dante's Inferno. The mood, the people sitting around him in reverence, it was the most awesome thing I had ever seen. I was spellbound and I joined the class on the spot. I've been an actor ever since that moment. I had found my life's purpose through performance. I've done a lot since then. I've had multiple commercial agents, worked on films, traveled to Los Angeles, spent a ton of time on stage and theater, and I've even produced my own Western film, which I'm very proud of, by the way. My life has taken some turns along the way. I even spent over a year putting together an online business that I would have to shut down eventually. Even so, it always comes back to acting, just in different ways sometimes. I even met my fiancée Sahar during a Midsummer Night's Dream. So, a couple of years ago, my sister Kayla started getting sick again. Her transplant was failing. I was also about to lose my job, and my online business was tanking. It was one of the most stressful times in my entire life. I had my blood tested to see if I was a match as a donor, but I wasn't. Thankfully, my sister Sarah was, and she saved Kayla's life once again by donating her kidney. I will never forget what it felt like to watch both of them wheeled into the operating room. It was a successful operation, though, and Sarah's kidney is awesome, and they are both very healthy today. After I shut down my online business, and Kayla was okay, and Sarah was too, I took almost a year off from everything aside from my full-time job. I caught up on sleep and the hobbies that make me happiest, like gaming. I'm a huge geek and proud of it, and throughout my life I've played everything from D&D to Warhammer to Skyrim. Fuss Roda! I'm also part of a local pirate guild called the Colorado Rogues. Geek card secure. After my year of fun, I knew it was time to work on something big again. So I auditioned for the play Jekyll and Hyde, and I got the role of one of the Hydes and a side character. I was back to acting again, and I couldn't be happier. The show left me feeling powered up, and I knew it was time to make some life choices. I wanted something big. This was one of those times in my life I would make a choice and dive totally into it. What to do, though? I have so many interests and passions, it's sometimes hard for someone like me to make choices. Well, as it turns out, Wyatt Kane had started his YouTube channel earlier last year. He was having a great time and encouraged me to do it. I took some time to think about it and realized something. YouTube encompassed in some way almost everything I loved. Acting, film production, writing, geekery, meeting people, gaming, you name it. YouTube is the perfect playground for me. I can do all the things I love and be an actor. December 1st, 2012, I started what I would come to call YouTube Boot Camp with Wyatt Kane. He's taught me a ton, and just over 3 months later, I'm doing it on my own. It's exactly where I need to be. 31 years of life is a lot to share in a video that lasts a few minutes. There's so much I had to leave out. Looking back, though, I can only feel gratitude and excitement for what's yet to come. I've led a fantastic life, and thank you so much to all of my loved ones who make every day amazing and special. I'm really excited to see where my YouTube career will take me. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Arigato.